What up? What up? What up, man? Welcome to Fellas Not Included. We back in the mix, so let's get started. A couple topics today. I want to touch on, and I talked about it a little bit in the title. Just celibacy after childbirth for men and women. Today's just the status of men today, and then really to the stepfather conversation. It's something I think we really have to have in our community more than anybody else, right? I mean, that's just the reality. We are stepfathers more than anybody else. We are children born out of wedlock more than anybody else. So this is just the reality. Shit we need to do. So we're going to start off again. Welcome back again to everybody. I know we had a hell of a hiatus there. Life happens. Let's start down the path of the celibacy discussion. As I said to you prior to starting the live, I'm torn on that.
Yeah,
Right.
explain why.
So as a man, I constantly hear us talk about women needing to make better choices in life. Women needing to stop making dumb decisions on the people they sleep with and procreate with. And I'm like, I support that. That's common sense, right? I can't sit here and tell somebody, listen, you're making dumb decisions. You need to change and then get mad at them for changing. And that's the flip side, right? The celibacy part after childbirth is the change. Okay, she's had a kid by a poor decision maker, right? She had a kid by somebody who is not a good person. She had a kid by somebody who's locked up or in jail, whatever the case may be. She should hold off, right? Make sure the next individual is the right person, right? Because that's a valuable asset that she has. So instead of laying down with a bunch of dudes and then running and repeating that same situation, put a lock on it. But on the flip side, right, as a man, I understand men who say, bro, I'm not waiting for something that a whole lot of other people didn't have to wait for, right? So that's where I'm torn, right? Because again, it makes sense. We are harping on women, especially black women. Make better decisions on the people you procreate with. Make better decisions on the people you sleep with. And when they start to make them, we kind of be like, not right now. You know what I'm saying? So give me your thoughts on that one, bro.
So I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I think that we may need to differentiate, the whole celibacy thing versus being responsible, right? Because you don't have to be. You can be in a relationship and then abstain, and practice, celibacy or whatnot. It's not typical, but in American culture, but because that's more of a spiritual thing. But I think what happens is a lot of times women, after them making these mistakes, after allowing the wrong man to access them without actually vetting him properly, then they try to leverage their trauma with the next man. Instead of, if you want to abstain or be celibate, that means you just by yourself. You know what I mean? Like you don't even need to be entertaining anything else. But if you're going to entertain a man, I think you already shot yourself in the foot with the whole celibacy thing. I mean, you gotta come into a relationship with minimal to no baggage to be able to say you gonna be celibate. You know what I'm saying? I
But
mean,
I don't. That's when I get confused, right? Because we want, like, we encourage our daughters, hey, that's a valuable asset that you have. Don't give it away
yeah,
because not everybody respects it.
yeah.
Um, you should enter a relationship. Granted, we are older, right? So shit's different. But you should enter a relationship without sex, right? You should have to value or find the value in each other. A relationship or dating. Let me say dating before the relationship, right?
Yeah.
Dating is trying to get to know you, right? But let's be honest. Most cats ain't doing 3, 4, 5 dates with no nookie, right?
You saying it should be? You said normally it's three after like three
I'm
dates.
saying what people are saying. If you dudes are like, man, if I gotta take her on 3 dates and I don't get none, I ain't doing it, right?
Man,
I'm like, you should probably put some work in, get to know her. But it's hard
yeah.
when
I think that might represent a man that's unhealthy. You know what I mean?
it's a lot of I don't disagree, but it's a whole lot of unhealthy men, right? I had a homie that he was really into a chick, bro, and they went on a couple dates. Third date, he was like, bro, I just canceled date. She ain't talking about nothing. I'm like, bro, it's date 3. Yeah, but so and so smashed on the first night,
See,
and I had to see
see,
that. But
and
she
that,
made a bad
hey,
decision, right? You want her to
right.
correct that,
Hey,
but
but
we don't
no.
want that.
Okay, let's talk about what correct. How can you correct that? What does correction look like as far as you concerned?
Correction means don't repeat the same mistake. If I run my head into a brick wall, I probably shouldn't do that again. I learned my lesson. So therefore, I'm gonna be very cautious about where I run to.
Okay, being cautious, but then maybe some mistakes you can't correct. Do you know what I mean?
You don't have to repeat though. That's what I'm saying, right?
Right,
Just not
right.
repeat.
But I mean, bro, I don't even me like. Of course, I'm all for being healthy in that department, right?
Right?
But what do I say to my homeboy who is dating this woman cordially and respectfully, and but all he knows that somebody else accessed it for on the first night. How can I mean, what do I say?
I'm gonna tell you like I tell my homies, you ain't him. Right? Let's just keep it a buck. You're
You
not him.
not. You not.
Especially if he didn't have to put in no relationship, no work, you're not him. Stop trying to get his benefits. You
Right.
can't go to my job and get my pay just because I got it, right? And the same thing for anybody else. You're not him,
No, I know, but
right? So you have to approach that situation as I'm not him, right? If you were him, you be done with that situation.
you know what? So like if I'm speaking for myself, I think I wouldn't even entertain it, like because
So you want a chick that's letting you smash out the gate.
no, I'm saying if I wouldn't entertain a chick that I know somebody smashed out the gate because it's going to be a conflict of interest either way.
Well, okay. I can understand if you know, but let's keep it real. Somebody smashed out the gate everywhere. That's just the reality, bro.
You think that? You think that?
If she is, so let me take a step back. Here's another struggle I have. We have this concern with the number of sexual partners a woman has. I don't, but a lot of men do. But those same men are actively increasing the body count of other women. Right? I'm like, how can you say a body count matters, but you out here helping chicks increase them? Like you can't say it's a problem and add to the problem.
But you're
Right?
not. I don't necessarily think you adding to the problem. I understand. Okay.
I ain't no math genius, bro. But if I got 4 apples and you bring another apple, now I got 5. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but
So
this
that's
not
adding to the
this is
pot.
this is not simple mathematics though. I'm saying
It's
like
not a body. So if she smashed 10 people and she said I got 3 bodies, you straight? Because I mean, is it math or not?
no, it's just it's different types of women is what I'm saying. Like some
True,
women
true.
are that's just it. They're broken in that way. Okay.
But that's
Science
okay.
says this is what science says. That's not me saying it.
Okay.
Science says that after about 5 mates, women have difficulty, really,
I got to find something because I know where you're going with this one,
yeah.
and my boy be going there too.
I'm
And
just. This is what science says. I can't say one way or another. I mean, I'm inclined to believe it because it's science, but I mean, I'm just telling you that's what it says. So I'm like, I think after, in that lane, in that space, those that's the hypersexual space. That's just what that is.
I gotta find. Excuse me, I gotta find this shit that I sent my guy because he said the same thing. So I went out and looked at because I'm like somebody's gotta tell me what that number is. He could never say what the number was. He was like after a certain amount of partners, women have trouble pair bonding. I'm
Yeah.
like, cool. What's that number? He's
I
like, well,
think
it's different for everybody.
I think it's well, yeah, base is different for everybody, but I mean, statistically, it's like 5 to 6 or something like
So
that.
I found a study, and I'm gonna find it about the longevity and happiness in a relationship. A woman who has 1 or 2 bodies has a much higher chance of having happiness and longevity in her marriage. From 4 to 21 is about the same percentage,
What?
right? And so I sent it to my guy because I'm like, bro, you trying to get a 4-piece spicy ain't gonna happen in 2024. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's impossible unless
Hold on.
our
They saying from 4 to 21 is the
they said
same.
the percentage is so close that it's not mathematically important.
Dang, that's irrelevant. Then I don't think that's
And that's where I'm at. Like, I think body count. I'm not like the body count shit is weird to me. Now, I have a homie. She was like, it's over 100. I don't know. Cool, right? You have some other issues, right? You have some other
okay.
issues.
So then, okay. So how do we? How I mean, there has to be a line drawn somewhere.
There has to be a line drawn somewhere, right? And I think you pick up on, and again, my particular homie. She's cool as hell. I got mad love for her, right? Cool person. She doesn't know how to love properly. She doesn't know how to get love properly. So she tries to get it with her body. Very attractive woman, very fit, no kids. Her process, I think there's something wrong, right? Obviously there's something wrong. I think she tries to earn a man with her body, right? And it never works. It's never gonna work.
Is it initially with the intention of something long term, or
She's looking for she's always been looking for love. right? And I had a conversation with her one night. I'm like, listen, that's not like you put. Let's just skip the body part. You putting yourself in some unsafe behaviors, some
Yeah.
unsafe. We got a comment. Let me see who it was here.
Alexa.
It's usually daddy issues, right? And
I
that could
agree.
be right. I
I,
need
I
I need to
agree.
dig in that with her. But I remember one night we was all sitting at the crib, a bunch of us, and we was talking to her, and she was like, "Yeah, I went to dude's house. I just met him. I stayed at his house. I ended up watching his daughter." I'm like, "That ain't really the problem. Like you went to this dude's house that you don't know, right?" She's like, "I spent the night. So if you spend the night, let's keep it real, right? You spend the night with somebody, it's going down." And she didn't lie. You know what I'm saying? So, um, but it's just like, okay, that's too many, right? And what I mean by too many is there's a problem. That's a symptom of something else.
Right. So that's what I'm speaking to. Even though that's kind of an extreme example, what I'm saying is that
I don't think that's as extreme as you think it is, bro.
what you talking about the just 100 bodies? You don't think
I,
that's
I don't think in 2024, I don't think it's as extreme as people think it. I'm not saying it's not extreme. I'm thinking. Let me rephrase that. I think it's not as uncommon as we think it is. For
that I'm definitely out of touch if that's the case
well,
then.
I'm just gonna do simple math, right? And I know you don't like the simple math in that aspect, but let's say somebody has been sexually active
Hmm.
for at our age, right? I'm 48. You didn't start at 28. Let's keep it real. It started at 18, maybe if you waited that long for 30 years.
Yeah, okay.
If you were single, not in a relationship for long term, you might have 2 or 3 a year. Like that's yeah, no math genius, but the shit adds up quick.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
Okay, so in that regard, yeah, you're probably right. So, okay, once that kind of speaks to my point. So what I'm saying is the men who are out there just hypersexual, those are the women that they're going to be, it is like the numbers are going to be everywhere. I'm
right,
talking about the other group of women. You know what I'm saying? Like that, the
right.
ones that are I guess socially modest, considered socially modest in that space. Like you have to be careful because it's not just sex with that type of woman. You know what I'm
100%,
saying?
100%.
It
Right.
is something is she's going to be
You,
attached. Is so
right. If
you
you make it just sex, you about to get your shit busted.
right.
You know what
So
I'm saying? So I'm
I'm,
with you.
I mean, so I'm like, and that I think that's men, yeah, are there double standards, yeah, but the fact we have to be honest. At some point, there are different rules
Bro,
for genders.
there is, right? And that's because we make the rules. It's purely because men make the rules,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
100%. That's the there's discrepancies and
but
differences
but
between
women benefit from those rules though too, right? You know what I mean? Because
from
okay,
from a lot of them.
I,
Yeah,
I'm saying in the sense of like because we make the rules in this like this space and we say, you know, women who have minimal to no sexual partners are more valuable than these other women, right? Those women get to leverage that. They get to extract, just based on that component alone. So you get to get things free. You can really get things
you can
free.
live a good life.
Yeah, just off that
So
alone.
so
Like
let's
men
let's
can't
talk
do
about
that.
that. Let's talk about that, right? What are the chances? Again, I'm not talking about somebody men who are 22, 23, 24. I'm talking about a lot of the guys that we interact with that are single. They're
Hmm.
40 plus years old.
Hmm.
You're probably dating chicks close to your age range. You're not short of being and it's going to delve into the stepfather stuff a little bit. Short of finding a woman who was in a long term marriage,
Hmm.
or it's a widow, you out. I mean, you shit out of luck, bro. You gonna end up a stepdaddy if you want a chick with close to our age, a lower body count. It's a high probability going to end up stepdaddy. She was probably married or in a long term relationship. They probably had kids, right? And I know a lot of people say, "Well, I'm gonna date a younger woman." Bro, these younger women. Number one, I struggle with that concept. Like most of us were.
What do you struggle with
Here's
about?
what I struggle with. Most of us were. Every one of us. I'm not gonna say most. Every single man that's 40 was 20 at some point. You was 20. You was 25. You was 30. You was 35. You never got the young girl. Why all of a sudden now you're gonna get it, right? If you get a young one right now, to me she got daddy issues. I'm gonna keep it above.
I
She
mean,
got to have daddy issues if she 22, 23, 24, and you 45. That shit is crazy in my head. I would, and I said this before. If my daughter would have brought a man home my age, I'd fight that motherfucker every time I saw him.
well, okay, that range is pretty wide, but I'm saying let's just find the sweet spot. Like I don't think it's uncommon for there to be this for like 20 men in their late 20s to mate with women in their early 20s, like 21 to 20 with a 28, because, and I think, and I personally don't have a problem with that.
I mean, that's a short range. I can work with that, right? But
Yeah, but I'm
the
saying, oh,
average is 2 years. That's the difference between men and women.
but
30,
after you,
the, the average is 2 years. These cats are 45, 50, talking about getting a young chick, bro. What's young? To me, young is in the 20s. If you cross the 30
yeah,
mark, until I hit 60, your ass ain't young.
yeah, I guess as you get older, the gap seems like, okay, 40 and 20 is different than, 40 and 60, right? It's different.
Right.
But my point is this, that in this, because this is what I mean when I say, okay, men make these rules, but women benefit from them. The fact of the matter is that in this world, men are valued on what they obtain, and it takes them time to do that, right? So that's why you're generally going to be a little older when you build your worth. You know what I'm saying? And that is what attracts women. And then women who are younger, because they leverage their vanity, they know that, right? And they can leverage, uh, they can at least perpetuate or present the illusion that they
Okay.
are not, they don't have a lot of, sexual history, right?
You're
Like
just not going to know it
yeah,
because
you're not going to know it, but at least I'm saying that everybody can buy, the world will buy into it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think
But
anybody bought into it but the
no,
dude, to be honest,
no,
bro.
but no, but check this out though. What I'm saying is this. Let's just say that it's still, if she is 22 and she is fairly active. So by 22, she has, let's just say she has an upwards 15 bodies, right? These same, like, but if she was 42, she'd probably have 115, or you know what I mean, or something like that. So it's still,
I understand that concept, but I want to. Here's where I think the difference matters, right? If she is 42, 43, 44, she's only had to deal with the social media side of life for 10 years, right? That she didn't grow up in it. She didn't grow up in social media where everybody had access to everybody. The young chick grew up in social media. They started, bro, I think they start quite a bit earlier than we think they do,
maybe,
right?
but I'm saying you still got to factor in the long term baggage and even the children, like the
Right.
likelihood of children that the other women have is what I'm saying. I'm saying men who have amassed a certain level of economic stature. Like what is the point of, like, yeah, that's what you can afford. You can afford to do that. You
So,
can.
so here's the crazy part, right? Because I've done a lot of travel. I've been around a lot of situations where there's dudes with money with young chicks, right? I mean, vacations, we go to a place like Aruba, shit like that, where it's a little bit pricey. Here's the one thing that I see across the board every time I see it. The older dude with the young chick, she still wants to hang out around young people. The older dude's always intimidated because he understands those young men. She's not going to leave you, but that's what she wants. Let's keep it real, right?
Yeah.
And this is the part I think where we have misbeliefs. Most women, if she's with you because you have resources, she's with you because you have resources. You are not her ideal sexual candidate, which means let's keep it real. These chicks are not the same as they used to be. A lot of these younger women will date you for what you have, but sleep with a dude who fits their ideal physical category.
Yeah,
And
but that's
you
that's
have to accept that if you
no,
date
I
the
don't.
young chick.
I don't think you have to accept that if you got a certain
That's the
level of
reality,
certain
bro.
stature. No, not if you got not if you got not if you're a man of a certain stature. I'm not saying that these women don't want that, but I'm saying of course you're going to find the ones that they are strictly on the hunt, right? So they are going to be still promiscuous in their mindset. They're just going to be temporary. I think any man that has amassed a certain level of stature, he is also intelligent enough to use his discernment. They are the ones who understand. They're not idiots, and they understand the rules, right? Even though, yeah, I know that what's understood don't have to be explained, right? So I know that I may not be your ideal physical type, archetype at this point, but we already know what it is. Like, just like you, I know that.
It's transactional at that
Yeah,
point.
it's transactional, so we know the rules. So that's we don't have to have a discussion, and I'm able to pick the right ones. Any man, and if I'm a man that's busy, if I'm getting my money, I don't care if she wants to hang around her peers. That's actually good, right?
What do you think is going to happen around her peers, bro?
I'm gonna know what her. Look, that's what I'm saying. I believe in my. I'm confident enough to know I know how to pick them. If it's me, I know how to pick them. I'm not the ones that if you young, but I can sense in your energy and your vibe what you own. I'm gonna allow that for you, right? You just in the rotation if
Oh, right, right.
You know what I
But
mean?
I don't think most, and this is where we we probably agree. Most men don't have that, aren't that dude. No matter how much money they get, because money and fame don't stop you from being a lame, right? You're just a lame on a different level, right? Just because you have some money and you have a certain amount of resources doesn't make you any different than who you were without that money. You put yourself
Right.
around different people,
Yeah.
but your characteristics, your charisma or lack thereof, is
Right.
still there, right?
Right. Right.
And I think a lot of men, and this again, I'm a numbers dude. So when I look at the numbers, they say the majority, like 95% of all marriages, are within a 2 or 3 year, 2.5 year range. A lot of these older cats, you ain't getting no love, bro. And I understand you worked hard, right? You spent your time, but you never got. I think a lot of men never learn to talk to women,
Right.
right? And so having more money doesn't. It puts you around a different quality of woman. It puts you around women of different caliber, but it doesn't change the fact that you have a purpose. And like for me, and maybe it's because I've been in a long ass relationship, I don't understand and I can't comprehend a transactional relationship to the point where, hey, our relationship is based on what I can provide to you. That's like for me, that's crazy. Because I understand
Well,
that reality says this shit can go away any moment, right? Um, I'm 48 years old, bro. I go to the doctor for shit, right? One time I might go to the doctor, like, hey, you need to be in the hospital. You're there for 6 weeks. That changes everything, no matter
yeah.
who you are, right?
Yeah. But
Um,
essentially, we're all in transactional
I
relationships.
don't, and that's the problem where I go with dating when you're older. Because yes, when you get older, it's transactional because you haven't built anything together,
No,
right?
what
Somebody's
I'm
coming to benefit. There's an exchange
right.
of benefits.
Right. What I'm saying is, bro, you are just there's a such thing as relationship equity. So you are just on the end of you put a lot of equity into your relationship, but it's still transactional, right? You know what I mean? Like
Help me understand what you mean by that, right? Because when I
even
think transactional, I'm thinking, listen, I'm providing financial stability. That's why this woman's here. She's
yeah,
providing sex. So what happens if
yeah,
you're with a young chick, God forbid, get an accident, and her coochie quit, right? She got an accident, and shit don't work. Whatever happens, right?
yeah.
Are you bouncing?
It's all
I mean, that's a legitimate question. Are you
yeah, right.
bouncing
It has everything. It's a lot of factors that I have to consider, and that's what I'm saying.
if
Like,
she get an accident? Let's say she's young, she's hot. That's what you married her for, right? It's
mhm.
transactional. Something happens to her, and that part of her body is unavailable. Do you bail?
I don't
You
not
should
not
do bail.
no 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 no. I think that we have to renegotiate, and we have to come up with something that's fair, and it can be, and we come up, we strike for real. We strike. It's
And we
transactional, right?
negotiate.
I'm no for real. I'm saying this come up. It's like a settlement. You know what I'm saying? Like obviously we can't. It's not. It's no longer transactional. But because as a business person, I understand. It's like a severance thing. You know what I mean? Like I'm going. You know what I mean? I'm not going to just. I'm not. I'm not that type of person. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna set you up. But obviously, you know, we like I can't. It can't. We
You
can't
sleeping with
continue.
somebody else, right? You go off
At a
his
certain
word,
point,
but that's what
right?
you get to.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
But it's a way
so
it has to be done with integrity. You know what I'm saying?
so that's where I say that there's a difference, right? When you start young and you build together. I'm in this group. It's black husbands, right? This is it's about black husbands. It's all black husbands. We talk about different shit, and that conversation comes up a lot. There is a there's a it's interesting for the people who've been together for a long time. There's a common theme. Listen, if life happens where the lady parts don't work, that's just okay. It's just over, right? For us, we like okay that part of the relationship. There's so much more to it. Don't get me wrong, men still want to have sex. There's other things we probably can do with one another, but we're not going to say, well, now I'm going outside because your shit quit working. And the
Right.
same should be true on the flip side because it's a high probability our shit's gonna quit long before theirs. I mean, that's
Yeah.
the reality.
Right.
Imagine your girl coming to you like, hey, listen, this motherfucker don't work no more. She's like, listen, we need to renegotiate. I need to be, I'm still gonna be your arm candy, but I need to be able to sleep with different men. You going for
Nah,
that?
it's not. You know, see, now you trying to.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying.
It's different rules. We can't
I
do that.
understand that. That's what I'm saying,
Well,
bro.
okay,
Like,
this is what I'm
so
saying. Okay, in a lot of relationships, in a lot of long term relationships, women that are like elder women are literally okay with their husband that who is still functional in that space, as long as he doesn't embarrass her, and long as he, you know, what I mean, he stays committed to her. It's all. It's still. That's what I'm saying. It's still transactional. It's
I,
all. It's a lot of different. Like your relationship may not be like that, but I
right,
know.
right. I'm
I
with you.
know. I know a lot of elder women who think like that at a certain point because it's not just oh your lady part stop working, your whole mind shifts. You don't
So
even
let's flip it to the other side. So a chick's with a dude for money. He loses money. She's not staying. Right? We know that.
right
She's out the gate.
right
There's no renegotiating. The shit's over.
right
Right? Because
right.
it's not about. And this is where I struggle. And I understand that everybody's different. But there's no like I hear people constantly talk about. There's no unconditional love. There's no like if you don't. This is why I harp on relationships are designed for young people from a starting perspective. Because if you look at it logically, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Relationships don't make sense logically, right? Like I'm gonna get with you and try to keep you happy while I keep me happy. You're gonna try to keep me happy while you keep you happy. We're gonna try to make multiple things come together. Like it don't make a lot of sense.
And so why are you advocating for people to mate like that when you know it doesn't make sense?
But it makes sense when you're young, and that's why
I
I
don't
like
think it does.
it
I
does
don't.
because you everything you have is like you said from a male perspective. You don't in your youth. Most of us don't have a lot. So you're building that and having that right woman behind you. I said white, somebody gonna be beating me up for that one. I meant right. Having that right woman behind you will, will inspire you, right, to be more, to be better, to do more.
You was
Right.
the last person that should
I
have
know, right? That shit slipped out, but that's not what I meant.
right
But
right right.
that woman will inspire you to do things, and like I can tell you what 100%. A lot of the shit I've done in my life, I did because of my woman. Meaning, I wanted to give her more. I wanted to be able to do better and give her a different kind of lifestyle. Um, but if I was to, if I was a single man in this position, I would look at a relationship like, what is all? I mean, what is the what is the reason, right, that I would do that? You know what I'm saying? So, right, I'm gonna catch hell for that one. But
Hey, bro. Okay, what I'm saying is this: like, there's a reason why in almost every other culture, marriage is generally it's arranged. It's a reason
yes,
why. You know what I mean? Like because they don't go by these rules that don't make sense.
no marriage.
It
I've been
makes
to
like
an arranged wedding, right? I have friends that are married
right.
through arrangements.
So what I'm saying is this: like in this culture, like for me, I would be okay with a 28, 29, maybe even 30-year-old male who is he's healthy, right? He's healthy, he's established, courting my 21-year-old daughter. I
But
would
that's an
be okay
acceptable
with it.
range. That is an acceptable range. I can agree with you to on that one, right? That's acceptable. 8 9 years, she's grown. She's not 18 and he's 28, right? That's weird to me because like you just crossed the line, right? But 21, 22, dating a 28, 29, 30, I get that. That's acceptable. Um,
So, but I think what you're saying is that like I don't think 18-year-old people need to be courting.
no, they shouldn't be, right?
Like
You're still learning life.
that's all I'm
You
saying. I'm
should still be at the crib or in college. That's where you should be.
Yeah, like I have a son who is 26 right now. Like I'm literally walking him through this part of life and helping him, trying to help him like redirect him. He does not, and he's had relationships and they didn't go right at all, and it really set him back. He is not equipped. I don't think to, and even me at 26, I was not equipped. You are an exception, bro. You know what I mean? Like
I don't think we were equipped either. It's something that we had to adjust. Like we had kids early,
Yeah, and
right?
I'm saying y'all two people who made a commitment to and honored y'all choices. But what I'm saying is that you still have to be of a certain have something in you that allows that to be sustainable to where you
Right.
at now. The average person is that you know what I mean? Like it just doesn't happen
I'm
like
with you, and I think that goes to a whole sexual aspect. A lot of us just have sex to have sex, especially when you're younger, right? With no intent, and that is also a problem with our culture. Because if you look at other cultures, most men aren't doing that, right?
right.
Most men are coming to their wedding also a virgin, right? Which
Because
most of us is
that's a superpower. That's the thing about it.
the superpower
We
everywhere
just
else.
we just programmed to not understand that. You know what I mean? Like it's literally a superpower. We're programmed to as soon as you get money, you get resources, and you get status, go out here and be irresponsible sexually. That's
Yep.
what we programmed. Like that is
I
the
mean,
best.
so think about what we were talking about. right? A man's value is his resources, and a woman's is her youth. And then we see these chicks who have 3, 4, 5 babies by 3 or 4 or 5 basketball players. Like she crazy. What I mean, she's doing what we taught. We didn't teach marriage. We didn't teach long. We didn't teach that, bro. That's not common in our shit, right? I was just having a discussion slash debate with one of my homies, and I was a little bit upset because he's like, man, well, 80% of our kids are born out of wedlock. So the fact that only this percentage of our people are fucked up is good. I'm like, that's not good. I don't. You're justifying the end result by justifying the craziness of the number of kids that are born out of wedlock or out of not just out of wedlock, but I call them lust babies,
Hmm.
right? Lust babies, right?
Hmm.
Y'all didn't intend to have a family, no shit like that. Like that's insane to me. And I struggle, right? And people think I'm weird and judgmental, but I'm like, my mind can't wrap itself around that concept of okay, this one didn't work out, so I'm gonna have a baby with this one. Like
Why are we okay with that? Like
bro, I don't know, but I catch hell for even talking about it. Oh, you think you better than everybody else? Okay, I do. I
I
didn't make
mean,
I didn't go to jail. I'm better than that motherfucker that did.
even if you
You
didn't
understand?
think that, right? Your decisions were better, right? Like it's
And
just
that's what I mean. I don't mean I'm a better person. I make better choices,
yeah. I mean, I
right?
don't like however you measure it, however you say it, it is what it is, right? I have no problem with saying with acknowledging the truth, the fact of the matter, like that's. But we should know. Like I don't even understand why we on this kick about not being judgmental. Like we have to.
We are judgmental anyway,
Right. So,
right?
but we actually need to be more judgmental amongst ourselves. We need to be. People need, if verbal criticism is what motivates us to be better, then let's do it. If that's if that's what gets our attention, then it
Well,
needs to be a concerted effort of us judging one another so
we
we can be better.
love negativity, right? Um, Negativity, like if you post some positive shit, you're gonna get very little reaction,
Yep.
right? We love the negativity.
Hmm.
Um, this is off topic a little bit, but I saw this video going around. It's like a Latina singer, and I'm like, why is everybody sharing this video? Then I watch it. I'm like, oh, she got a dress on, but you could kind of see everything through the slit, right? She had a slit in her dress, and she wasn't wearing no underwear. And I'm looking at all these chicks complaining like, oh, she's a piece. I'm like, bro, that's sexy red all day long without accidentally doing it,
Hmm.
right? That's Suki or whatever. I'm like,
Hmm.
we encourage that shit
Hmm.
when it's us, but when it's not, we kind of look down. I'm like, this chick, and I think she probably knew what she was doing because she got a billion shares on this damn video.
Hmm.
Um, but nonetheless, it's you had to look for it to catch it, right? She was fully dressed, but she had from the side you can see some shit. And people were
Yeah.
talking. A lot of people who look like us was talking shit. I'm like, bro, our entertainers do this shit intentionally.
Man, I have to say it. I believe that as far in American culture, so-called black people are is the culture who believes it is beyond criticism because and I think it's because of what we believe our history is. We believe because we have been oppressed systemically per American history that we are beyond criticism.
I'm with you. I'm with you 100%.
I
We
don't I
literally just
don't
had this
like
conversation.
I don't like it at all.
I just had this conversation because I'm telling my homie something. He's like, well, man, based on the shit that happened to us, I'm like, listen, we can make excuses or we can make progress. We cannot make both.
Every group of people can say this. Every group of
And
people
then that's what
can
that's what
say
I'm
that
saying.
they
But
were.
we harp on it, right? So I had this conversation, and I don't want to jump into politics, but I had this conversation with somebody online. It's like, oh, y'all, so and so said super predators. I'm like, bro, I grew up with fucking super predators. I grew up with motherfuckers that was kidnapping people from the neighborhood, taking them and holding them hostage and shit. I watched. I'm like, these cats. When the crack first hit this area, bro, we had super predators. I had my brother. Thank God he fast. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucker tried to scoop him. He wasn't even in the streets, but he was with somebody that was. Tried to scoop him up. He couldn't catch him, chase him all. Had his boy in the trunk, right? Chase him all around. Finally gave up on trying to get my brother, but he drove my brother's boy to Chicago, and cats had to pay ransom to get him back. Like, bro, we
Damn.
had cats that when they came outside, everybody went inside. Like, they're just keeping it real.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I commented, I said, bro, I don't know where you grew up, but where I grew up, we had super predators. I said, and I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Them young boys in Chicago with the Glocks with the switches at 15, 16 years old, them is not angels. Bro, I don't know if you've seen these videos when these cats is going to steal cars now because everybody got cameras, right? On the crib. They're 4, 5, 6 cats deep. 2 or 3 cats go to the door with a camera at, with the Glock with the extended clip pointing at the door. You're not coming out. You're gonna go ahead and let them take your car.
Mm-hmm.
That's not normal people shit, bro. So
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my guy, I'm like, bro, we don't have to like it, but a lot of the cats that I grew up with around and the shit that I saw, that was not normal people shit.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was like, well, yeah, but that's a different exception. I'm like, it's not the exception. That's the people that we was talking about because we was scared of them motherfuckers too. Right? Like it was cats that when they came outside, bro, I was like, okay, it's time to go. I remember going, this was back in, I want to say, man, this had to be like late 90s, early 2000s. I went down to my cousin's crib down in Louisiana, right? Down in, and it's like, I think Gretna or Harvey. Bro, we over there and he was like, man, whatever we do, bro, we gotta dip before it get dark. I'm like, what you mean? He said, when it get dark, you can't be outside. I'm like, me, because I'm from out of town. He's like, no, bro, nobody goes outside when it's dark except the cats that fuck up. I'm just like, bro, this is crazy. And I say all of that to say we don't like people to say certain shit about us, even if it's true. Right? Like
Yeah.
we want to argue against the reality that a lot of us live in. And it's fucked up, bro. I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting that we having this conversation because when you think about it, like when you look at even every social construct and popular narrative, like and that we get so bent out of shape about like whether it's you know sex trafficking, just being predatorial, these all these things being abusive, all these things they existed in the majority of our households and our family dynamics
We
for
know
years,
it.
and we don't, and we act like this because we've gotten older and we've maybe been a little bit removed from some of our family trees that it's okay now. No, these people are all walking around the neighborhoods. They are
We know
now
it.
the leaders in the community. A lot of them are still our leaders in the community, or they just hold position. They're stationed in the communities, right?
Right, right,
Because they've gotten older or whatever, and they can no longer offend. Then it's just ignored, right?
right.
And so I just can't take us serious in a lot of spaces because we we only acknowledge these things when it seems convenient. You know what I mean? It's just
100%.
I just don't. So I don't believe that we even when we're acknowledging them in society or in the media or whatever, I still don't think that we are genuine as a collective. You
No,
know.
I'm with you 100%, bro. This is gonna take me down another path, right? I told you from the beginning. I I said early before we started. I said I understand racism. I understood racism back in the day, right? But I don't agree with it. Like, and I'll go into my explanation. And I'm going way back to the slave days, right? If I was, and I'm trying to look at this through somebody else's eyes. I'm looking at this through a slave owner's eyes, right? Which is weird as shit to say as a black man. But hear me out on the whole purpose of this statement.
Hmm.
If you had all the land, all the money, you had all the jewelry, you had all the property, you had the we'll call them horse and buggies, there's no cars, and you had everything all the resources that you could have, and your woman went out and had sex and cheated on you with a slave, or your daughter went out and did that, you would hate them, right? I understand it. Don't justify. It's not justified,
Hmm.
but I understand from a male perspective. I'm talking
Hmm.
about from a man.
Hmm.
I think that's where we're at today with a lot of black men. Hear me out. I constantly, as I started doing this podcast shit, I started digging into all these dating groups and all these relationships and all I constantly hear or see, I should say, is a lot of brothers like, women gotta they I'm a good dude, I got a good job, I got money, I take care of kids if I had a family, and she still chose a pookie, as they call them. Right? I'm like, oh shit. Y'all hate them fucking women because you got all the resources and they still choosing a man that's not what you feel is as good as you. And I
Hmm.
think that's where we at today, bro. It's a lot of hate for
Okay.
black women from black men.
Okay.
And
No.
I'm using that as my explanation because I understood it from a white perspective, right? I'm like, ooh, I can see it. I don't agree with it, but I can see how you can feel that way.
Yeah, I think I agree 100%. I think we need to acknowledge too also that you have racism and then you have oppression, right?
Hmm.
And then you have just you have prejudice and you have hatred. and sometimes they coincide and they interact different ways. But I definitely agree. Like, yeah, you would, because we do project
Mhm.
and our hatred, in because that happens, right? You know, what I
It's
mean,
human nature, bro.
yeah, it literally happens. So yeah, I
I have
can.
this conversation with brothers all the time. I'm like, listen, you don't have to pretend to me that you're not hurt, bro. You have lost every time you try with this particular demographic. You're hurting because not that it didn't work out, but you felt like the cat that she went for instead of you was less than you. That's how you felt.
But you
I'm a
know,
good dude. I,
and-
I I would take care of her. I would take care of kids if we created. I would be a husband. And she still chose somebody that you felt was inferior to you. you
right.
you're not hating. Like instead of hating the dude, you hating the chick though. That's the difference.
Yeah, but I think in almost all of those scenarios, the man who now hates the next man or the woman is still projecting because you're failing to recognize and acknowledge your inadequacy. You know, because you think
Bro, hey, I'm with you 100%.
like that it has is because it's something that this individual believes this other individual has that you lack, and you believe just because you're functioning on a high level in the areas that are comfortable for you, that you don't have to take inventory and self-assess. And because you and then you there are different value systems. You all these things you saying, I got money, I take care of this, I do this. That's what you value. That may not
Right.
be what this person values. So if you want to be in a relationship with this person and you want this person to honor you a certain way, then you're going to have to understand what they
Right.
value.
Communication. You
Yeah.
need to, and so I have this conversation, right? I have this conversation with one of my guys all the time. All these goddamn girls stupid. I'm like, no, bro, look at yourself. You keep it's one of two things. You're not as good as you think you are, or you keep choosing the wrong chicks, right? Because if this woman feels safer around somebody that puts her in danger, might something about you ain't right. And if it's one girl's cool, but if it's seven, six, five, 10, bro, it's you, right? You have to self reflect and say either I'm choosing the wrong type of women, or I am not the good man I think I am. So I don't know, bro. So I look at this and I'm like, I think a lot of black men today despise black women, not because of anything other than I felt I deserved you and I didn't get you, right? And nobody deserves nobody. Let me put that on the out front. You have to earn whatever, and then sometimes it don't take much, right, to earn somebody. But you have to be that dude, right? And let me explain that. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier about the celibacy and shit like that. If you're that dude to her, all her rules go out the window, right? If you're that dude to her, all the shit she said, I need a 6 foot tall, 200,000. You could be 4'6" and make a 62,000 every 3 goddamn years. It don't matter, right? But if you're not that dude, you got to do the extra shit. And so you either as a man have to acknowledge that fact that hey, I'm not that dude, or find a woman who you're that dude to. And I think, and I've said this before, dudes are mad because the type of chick they want isn't the type of chick they want her to be. Right? They look at a chick and like she should be a different woman. She's not. It's just not who she is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so that's where I was going with my shit earlier about the whole, like I said, the racism, how I can link them. Because if you constantly chase if you provide everything you think is valuable to this person, and she chooses somebody who has none of that shit, that's just gonna hurt. One time, nah, not too much. But if it's your whole dating history, that's just gonna hurt, bro.
Right, but if it's your whole dating history, then you have to look at yourself at some point,
Yep.
right? Like because it really is not a reflection of who you are in totality. It's just somewhere in some areas you are lacking, and that's going to show up no matter what happens. Because that's where the saying "it happens to the best of us" comes from. You know what
Right.
I mean? Like nobody is beyond that. It can happen to anybody if you don't self-assess consistently against your with your along with your partner. And I'm not just saying that it doesn't happen. It's not women don't have that same
I mean, right,
responsibility.
right.
I'm just saying there's different rules and different standards. We have different value systems, and we have to, like you said, we have to communicate to be able to see where the balance in those value systems are. You know what I mean? Because if you man, we get in America, American culture, we got this ideology that that being a provider is solely you just paying bills and providing financially, but really being a person of provision, a man of provision, then you're providing different things. You're providing emotional stability, emotional support. You're providing leadership, guidance. Counsel. You know what I mean. There's so many different things that you have to, and your presence more than anything. So that's why how a lot of dudes get caught up in this, man. I pay all the bills. I do this and I do that. We live in America, man. So women have the right to work.
100%. Bro,
So
excuse me for jumping. I had that conversation on one of our homies' Facebook page. Somebody said, "Where did this concept come from of men having to be providers?" I'm like, "What the fuck? Are we really about to do that now?" Right? So somebody commented. He said something about why do men have to be providers? I said, "Well, if you look at historically, there was a time when women couldn't work. Right? They couldn't own shit. They couldn't work. And even unmarried women, there were jobs, but they made sure the pay was low as shit." I'm like, it's common knowledge, right? Like, why are we trying to back out? I'm not saying you should provide for every woman you know, but if you're going to wife a chick, you're going to have babies with a chick, like, that's kind of just, provision is not just financial, it's protection, right? And so dude kind of went back and forth, well, why she can't find another way to provide? I'm like, he's like, plant a garden, this, that, the other. I'm like, bro, you couldn't own land. Like, there was nothing you can do. The return a woman gives a man, if you get the right woman and you're the actual right man, right? Is not financial, right? It's the behavior, the raising the children, the taking care of the home, shit like that. But bro, we're in a whole different space right now. Like dudes is
right,
questioning
right.
the tradition. No, I shouldn't say dudes. So-called black dudes. I don't hear that happening. I'm sure other cultures are doing it, but it's not at the numbers we're doing it.
Yeah, they
Right?
you just not. We don't. We just talk about it too much, right? Like we don't. We that and we spend a lot. That's what we do across the board. We just talk about shit too much. We don't really do the work. And I do think there's some gray area in this whole thing with, because it's like you do have that group of women who believe that they should be allowed to work and just accrue money and still be fully taken care of. And I don't agree with that.
That's a
Right.
communication problem, bro.
Right.
Somebody had a communication problem there.
Yeah, but I think it's also a social engineering issue as well. But this shit is not really that hard.
It really
But
ain't, bro.
and like Alexis said, it does go back to daddy issues, right? Because I think that most, if not all, women who are brought up under a healthy man, they'll be all right in that space. You know what I mean? They'll track a decent dude and they will figure it out. You know what I'm saying? Like because they've had the opportunity to watch their father go through these things and then consult with their mother in terms of what these things mean. So and the same thing you can really say the same thing about men, right? Like if you got to know that if this man grew up under his mother, right, and in his mind, you know he really is going to be you're going to just cater to him and he ain't got to do much to earn it because you
That's what he
know
used to.
that's just what he's used to. That's in, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, so that is essentially a communication issue as well. Like
Yeah. He's
we
replacing one mama with another.
right.
You know what I'm
And
saying? So
that's why you have to spend time, like why we don't take inventory on ourselves and each other. That's really what courting is really all about. Just taking inventory. Some shit just it ain't gonna work. And we gotta know that. Like instead of just getting caught up in the the temptation and the urge of hypersexuality, that's really where we are we just suffer at. We're
well,
weaker
now,
in that space than any other space, if you ask me.
we I don't know, bro. We tend to focus on the wrong shit. I had a homie, and I kind of laugh at the shit right now. She's like, man, I'm trying to find a wife, blah blah blah. I'm like, bro, I remember when you had a chick who told you flat out, listen, I want to be a wife and a mother, and you ran, right? You was scared, right? And I'm like, You ran, and now you're looking for the same chick you ran from. Oh man, she was trying to move too fast. I said, bro, she just told you what she wanted, and you weren't prepared. Right? That's the reality. Now you feel like you're ready, but she's a wife and a mother right now. Right? Her goals was to be a wife and a mom. That's what the fuck she is. Right? And I look at it, I'm like, a lot of cats are like, a lot of dudes are scared if again, I'm not in this date market, so I don't know how this shit works. But if I was in it and I had to do it, hey, listen, I need to tell you everything I want and expect in date one. Because if that shit ain't in your book, why waste the time? I don't want to be 10 dates in, right? 10 dates, whether that's 2 weeks or 10 weeks. I want to be 10 dates in for me to find out you ain't on none of the shit I'm on. Right? If I'm looking for marriage and you not, let's establish that on date one. If you looking for marriage and I'm not, let's establish that on date one. But we don't do that, bro. We don't want to get to know people, right? And I think social media is a big problem, right? Because back in the day, and I wouldn't even say back in the day, most successful relationships today, you didn't meet on social media. You didn't meet online. You met through somebody, family, friends, because people know each other. But in those meeting through the family friend things, you had you had a conversation. You had time to
Yeah,
discuss shit.
that's a form of vetting.
Right. You were vetting people because listen, this is who I am. I will tell my guy, male homies, I will tell my female homies, listen, if y'all want to meet, that's cool. If one of y'all ain't shit, I'm gonna say it. Like y'all should just do some one night shit.
Bro, but it was, I'm just saying, there were certain girls or women, whatever you, at any point in my life that I wouldn't talk to just based off who they were related to.
I mean, reality, bro.
That's
We
just
had
what
a
it,
couple rough last names around this motherfucker. Like, if
yeah,
you got that last name, I
yeah,
can't.
I can't do it. And I'm saying that like, that's okay. That's how, you know what I mean? Because that's what you really essentially marrying into. And I don't care what nobody say. Once you have a baby, you procreate, that is at least an
A life lock.
18-year
That's a life
marriage
lock, bro.
at the bare minimum. You
Bare
know.
minimum, right? But it's a life lock. Something
Yeah,
bad happened, y'all both gotta go.
it's a life lock. I'm just saying that you can't, like, okay, if you got a baby by this dude, like, up until that child is an adult, he has the right to pop up whenever he wants to.
Unsolicited. He's
Yeah,
got property here.
yeah, that's just it
And I
is.
don't mean like we own people, but I'm keeping it,
No,
I'm keeping it
no,
real.
for real. I'm saying, and this is biological. Like he literally has the right to do that. You know what I mean? And you agreed to it. That's the thing about it.
Right. The moment you said, okay, cool, I understand you have a kid, you agreed to let that man
Yeah.
pop in, right? My wife and I were watching this shit, and it's some young people shit. I don't know. We stumbled across some shit called Outer Banks on Netflix. Turn the shit on and searching for gold. Some young people have relationship shit, whatever. But this kid, his dad beats the shit out of him, right? I'm like, that's crazy. But then his dad was like, he changed who he was. Like, I love you. And I'm like, he's happy the kids. I'm like, that's how serious a dad is, bro. That dude's father was horrible, but the moment he stopped being horrible, the kid was ready to accept it, right? And so as a dating somebody with children, you have to understand that man, especially if it's his son, bro, he's number one when he comes home, when he comes back into that kid's life, you gotta accept it, right?
That,
You an asshole if you don't.
that's why I think we need to be open in the conversation about, the standard of dating women with children. I just don't know. And as far as for so-called black culture, I don't think that's good for us right now.
Bro, but it's we create so many of these families, bro, or these situations,
Right.
right? Like we have the root cause is if we don't want to date a chick with kids, here's how I word it. I said I'd never date a single mom, but I also said I'd never create one. You have to be on that same shit, right? Because we can't all create a bunch of us creating these chicks and saying we won't date these chicks we created, right? We taking people out the pool. The root solution is to focus on, hey, listen, don't just have a lust baby, have a love baby. Try your best. Shit, not everything's gonna work, bro. That's the reality. But at least give it the foundation from the start.
But
Um,
with the proper foundation, man, it is no reason why it wouldn't work if it's the proper foundation.
right. You
Like
can work through it.
there is
Let
no
me fuck you up.
reason.
And I ain't gonna say the names because my guy might see it. I talked to one of my homies today, and he said something that really fucked me up. He was like, man, me and my wife filed for separation in 2015. We finally completed the paperwork. I said, what? Bro, y'all got kids. We didn't have dinner. We had dinner last year. We hung
Mhm.
out multiple times. I had no fucking idea y'all were separated. He's like, yeah, for it wasn't we didn't nothing something we made public, right? It was best for the family for us to keep to stay in the same house. And I'm like, that shit's crazy to me, bro. I had no idea,
But
right?
if that's what I mean by simulation, right? Like if that's what you gotta do, that's just what honorable people do. You figure out how to coexist.
Bro, I'm like that shit was so close. They kept that shit so close to the vest, bro. That like we couldn't tell. We sat down, we had dinner at the crib. Wife made dinner, right? We had dinner with the family. You would have never known. And I'm just like, I found that out today. And I'm like, bro, you know what he's like, bro, it didn't work. But that's
Okay.
not great. They're not of our culture, right?
Hey, right. And that, but I'm saying, and
I'm gonna be honest.
that's normal in other cultures,
It's
right?
normal
Like
in other cultures. Absolutely.
specifically Caucasian culture, right?
They weren't Caucasian either, but I'm with you though, right? Because
Yeah, but
I know some that have been through that.
yeah, but I'm saying I typically see it personally. Like I've had conversations with Caucasian people that they're actively in it, and I just could never understand it up until I learned to understand it, right? And that's
Yeah,
just me getting outside of
you
my
lost your motherfucking mind, right?
yeah. You know,
Like,
man, that shit don't make sense, right? But I'm telling you what it is we think it's more. We think it's more value. We would rather say, hey, we're going to create a blended family, multiple blended families, rather than preserve the integrity of the one that we already created. That
yeah,
it's not going because like, bro, life doesn't end. You know, if you create children in your 20s and 30s, right, and you raise them up until let's say when you 50, life doesn't end there. You know what I'm saying? Like
not at
it
all.
and so I'm like, you will have the opportunity to make the way you want to, but the fact of the matter is you are able to avoid so many different generational curses by honoring the decision that you made. And that's really what we need to start doing. I'm saying this, so it's different layers to it. But yeah, if the standard is, hey, if women hear enough, if they hear or they hear stories from their peers saying a lot of men are telling them, like they not interested in dating women with children, then I'm telling you that will turn over a new leaf in this culture. If women were to start off the top, going into relationships, making it clear, hey, right now I'm abstaining until further notice,
Right?
that'll ward off a lot of, like it just would, and it needs to happen that way. And naturally, like I think you will see a shift in the culture. But I mean, something got to be done because the shit is really just out of hand at this point.
Yeah, it's crazy, bro. And I'm gonna say this, and then I know you didn't see the private chat, but I do have to wrap up because I
Yeah,
gotta jump on some work shit.
yeah, for sure.
I remember having a conversation with a cat. I'm like, bro, I know you and your baby moms ain't together, but y'all should stay together for the kids, right? Work through it. I ain't living with that motherfucker. We ain't together. I, Same motherfucker down the road living with a chick they ain't together. They're roommates now because y'all broke up. And I'm like, that's to me mentally, bro. I can't understand how you can do something with another chick you couldn't do with the mother of your kid, right? I can't. And I know I got to wrap up, but I just want to say, like, I know a lot of people have difficulties, and I'm not in this situation. A lot of people break up with they baby moms and like, I don't give a fuck if she's struggling. Like, I could never do that because to me, your kids see their mom struggling. That's gonna have a negative impact on them. Now, don't get me wrong. If I can only help so much. You strung out on drugs, you actively refusing help. That's different. But you fall on a hard time. Even if I was dating somebody else, you gotta understand that's my kid's mom. Either I gotta make room or I gotta make a place somewhere. I gotta make sure my kid's mom have a place to sleep because if she don't, my kid's gonna suffer. But anyway, like I said, bro, I appreciate jumping on, man. Let's do. I'm open Thursday, Friday, whatever fucking day. But I do have a hard stop, unfortunately.
No, for sure. It's all good. It's a perfect time, actually.
All right, appreciate you, fam.
No doubt. Take care.
Bye.